I got a little guy over here talking to me. Patrick. He's all fired up. He found our channel. All right, we're gonna make a straight drop cut. And if I go out farther, I'm a little safer. Now, people often ask me, why do you like saw back and forth? You know, I want to get in there deep, and I want to feel when that starts to sit on me. So I kind of feel it sit. See it's close in there just a little bit? Because I wanted that so I won't get a whole lot of movement and it'll pop off. Now I'm gonna cut right above that, and I want to stay on that cut, and I want to stay on it hard. Video out of this. We'll see how the footage turns out. A couple of Boxelder's takedowns. Cut a narrow notch there. So I cut a narrow notch so that that would fall, and then I stayed on the cut just so that that would break away quickly. I didn't want it to come all the way over and maybe have the butt go back and hit the siding. I wanted that to fall fairly flat. So narrow notch and then stay on the cut, and we avoided the roof and everything. All right, we're gonna turn it on and off here. All right, we're gonna drop this off. Hey, by the way, like and subscribe. You know, most of you who watch don't like and subscribe. We should have way more subscribers. If I interpret the comments correctly, we have pretty good content. And so if you haven't subscribed, it's free. Just subscribe. We're gonna drop this off right in here. We're gonna try to miss the spruce. I'm gonna cut below my lanyard here, and so this is gonna move that way. I've ensured that I'm not entangled up there. There might be a little bit of sweep going on. We want enough notch for movement. But again, I'm going to cut this free as it goes. All right. So interestingly, I did feel a little tug up there on my line. I knew there was one little crosser. It was pretty small, and it swept by. But then as I got this to come over, I wanted to cut this free so that my butt didn't turn over, and then my butt could fall into the garage. So I stayed on the cut and just let her go, and we got a good landing. We swept the spruce, but spruce can take a little sweeping. All right, I think we can go up here and cut that piece off of there, right in the same area. Game of trees, we're having fun. Okay, we're gonna drop cut this. Now this is gonna be, I'm gonna cut out here. You know, we're a little vertical right here, and we got that roof line down there. So I'm gonna cut out here just to make it safe. And I'm gonna cut perpendicular to the ground right through this and just get a straight drop cut out of there. We're orientated pretty much on the left side of that spruce. So I might even go out just a little farther. I got a little guy over here talking to me. Patrick. He's all fired up. He found our channel. All right, we're gonna make a straight drop cut. And if I go out farther, I'm a little safer. Now, people often ask me, why do you like saw back and forth? You know, I want to get in there deep, and I want to feel when that starts to sit on me. So I kind of feel it sit. See it's close in there just a little bit, because I wanted that so I won't get a whole lot of movement and it'll pop off. Now I'm gonna cut right above that, and I want to stay on that cut, and I want to stay on it hard. Because I wanted to make sure that butt went out there. I didn't want that top coming over. And you can see it fractured before I got it cut all the way through. But if I were to stop, maybe it doesn't fracture. And then it's hanging there, maybe it twists, it halfway breaks, and then falls to the garage. So we got a straight down cut. Now this, I can make a real comfortable break cut here. And I don't have to use one hand on the saw. And I can leave plenty of breaking wood. And it's just gonna stay there. I don't want to shake the tree at all. And then I can put it right where I want it to. You know, I left about an inch there. And on Boxelder, you know, that's gonna break just fine. Now, you know, do I want to readjust this down into this union? I think so. I think I will. You know, if I fall on that with a lot of weight, maybe that goes. So I got a little guy over here just like pummeling me with questions. He doesn't quite understand how focused I get on what I'm doing. But he's enthusiastic, and I might have just motivated a guy to, you know, become an arborist. Okay, now this, you know, we've got a rig. So we've got my rigging line over here. And this is going to kind of create a compression force back down through this limb. So I could have been a little lower. Now I'm looking, I'm about the same height. So we're going to get a little bit of pullback, but that's okay. We got a lot of spring in this trunk. And as we rig pieces off of there, this will kind of pull up. But then we're creating it's going to split the angle between, you know, that angle, a straight horizontal angle to a pulley here, and then a downward angle. So if you cut this right in half, I mean, we're running about parallel to our angle of trunk. So, you know, if I would have been lower, you know, the next crotch down, we might have had, it might have been almost exactly down the trunk, which would have been ideal. But we're gonna have an acceptable level here. Now, I've got a pulley with, now this is going to give us a little bit of less friction up here. I would almost rather just have a natural crotch rig up here. I don't know how, do I want to go right over this so I could choke it down here and toss it over. And then we'll have a rig right here, right through the pulley and down. Is that going to be okay? We might have a little friction on the trunk, which Terry won't care. We've got a, you know, a more friction resistant rope on this. So I think, yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Hang on, buddy. All right, so we're just gonna bring this up and put it through here. This is actually I think a 16 strand, you know, climbing line, but you know, whatever. We don't use it for climbing, we use it for light rigging. Now, am I gonna go, which side am I gonna go on? I want to go on this side. Now that's interesting. I probably want to, how do do I want to manage my climbing rope? How am I going to do that? Because I'm going to be over there. I suppose I could, once I'm up there, I can get this above the pulley. So I think that'll work. So we'll just hang that down. Oh, but I'm gonna have to be over the top of that. Is that how I'm gonna want to manage that? I think that's how I'm gonna want to manage that. Good thing I pulled that all the way up so I could see it. So, let's step over this bad boy. Okay, is that gonna work? I think that's gonna work. I mean, I'm on a 2.5 inch branch there, but that ain't going anywhere. Famous last words. Okay, weight this one down before I take my lanyard off. All right, a lot of times when I'm spiking up a trunk, I keep my line outside of my lanyard. One, it keeps me away from my gaffs, and two, it allows me to tend the line easier. What? Yeah, I got the camera on. It's like I'm talking. All right. Hey, I gotta concentrate, buddy. I can't always turn around and talk to you, so I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just very focused on my work. In fact, that would be a detriment. To my detriment, I am focused on the exact point of my work. So that can make me a little less aware of potential, hazards or, things that could happen. Where are my ground guys? We had a recent incident like that where I was working rather steadily and one of my ground guys came underneath, maybe not following the protocol of calling his entry. That I couldn't hear it on the camera, and I don't recall hearing it in my mind. Oh, did you see that? Okay, I'm gonna leave a little bit hanging here so that I didn't have to catch that. Now I'm gonna cut up so that I'm not gonna cut my arm on the follow through. Whenever you're cutting like this, boom, you're gonna cut your arm. You're just gonna do it. Especially if you say, okay, don't cut your arm. No, you're gonna cut it. It's guaranteed you're gonna cut it. All right, I can probably hand toss a bunch of this tree. Oh. Now if Terry was over here, I'd probably just rig this. And maybe I'll shut off the camera and wait for him. But this is easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rigs, and then all wood. That's easy. I can set this up for a double rig. Oh, I gotta switch something. I went on the wrong side of my my line. So again, you don't notice that maybe until you draw it up tight. Come on, stop slipping up my hand. Mercy. Okay, we got 3. I'm gonna cut the 2 upper ones. I'm gonna get over here. Draw this up. Get off of it. Okay, get this out of the way. All right, you'll want a hand on the rope now. Hold it up high. Oh, that's no good. Okay, we want this to, let's get this out of my way. All right. We want this to fall away from me. I'm going to cut it as close to the trunk as I can, so there's nothing to catch on. Kept her just above the roof, so you can see we're pulling back up, and my climbing line is out of the mix there. I'm above the and that was good. We stayed above the roof, easy for Terry to grab. And we got a big old mess on the ground, but now I was able to make one rig and get 3 branches out of there. Now he could fire up the Intrepid and go grab that off the top of the pile and make that an easy pull for himself. Yeah, he'll be able to reach that. So you can probably grab all 3 of those, just lift them off that pile and set them over there with the machine. Now we're gonna have to do some flipping. And, you know, to flip a line to me from way over there, you know, he can walk back towards the corner of the garage and reduce that angle and get that flip to me. We'll see how that works. So we could have set up a porter wrap over there, but, you know, these aren't incredibly heavy pieces. We've got a pulley there, but we've got friction up in that tree. One more sling. The one problem of sending 3 slings down is the turnaround time on the rig, but you know, it's all good. Okay, you gotta flip it. You could probably have to stay where you're at. No, stay, hey, stay out there, because that's gonna give me the angle. And right into the cradle. So we've got Big Dan carabiners. You know, they're 50, 51 KN, 50 KN. And these are at height. yeah, 50 KN, almost identical carabiner, right? But the gate is a little beefier. And this one actually has a gate rating, I think, of 40 KN. I mean, a gate rating of 40 KN. That's pretty cool. And we basically use this method, you know, with lighter rigging. I mean, I'll probably rig this wood with these slings, but this I consider lighter rigging. This one's gonna fall and hang. And then this one's gonna fall and hang. Now let me swing it. Okay, lower it and it'll like lean off the roof. Yeah. Perfect. Soft and gentle. And then we'll just sweep it off the roof. Alright. Alright, now we'll take this single one. The good thing about redirecting is that I don't need him to bring it back to me. And having the double lanyard, you know, gives me the option to, you know, have a more stable position on here. Oh, bumping my camera. All right. We'll go just above my lanyard, a little relief cut. Swing it a little bit. Okay. Go. There we go. Get my rope out of there. All right. Take the top piece off up here. We're kind of above my tying point. Now I kind of got a top rope. All right. So I'll hang the sling first. I can cut the notch with my handsaw. ready? There it goes. So that manages that load pretty well. All right, we're hung, he says, right on that little stub. What's the rule? Don't leave stubs. Who left that stub? So this whole system, so now look at, interestingly, now with this rigging point, we're pulling straight up on that other spar. So when we drop that top off of there, yeah, I'll try to get her swinging. One more. All right. So when that came off, that was probably our heaviest drop, a negative rig. But that inverted that pulley, and I mean it ran on my rope a little bit. I didn't realize that that was going to happen. But at any rate, we created an up force on that spar. So, and then it would have been a straight compression force on this spar. So all the dynamics were pretty good on that. Hey, trees, we're having fun. All right, good job, Terry. Work my way down. You can start moving brush, but watch me. I'm gonna brake cut some down, and then I'll set up a rig. Get this small stuff out of the way. All right, we'll see how this is. It will just be kind of rinse and repeat right down the line. Okay. Oh, I wasn't recording any of that. Little cellulose hinge, that's what we call that. Okay, we can do the rest on the ground. All right. Hey Terry, could you toss me my water down there? All right, that's how we leave it. Like we were never there. Game of Trees, we're having fun. Go to gameoftrees.com. Get your biochar body bar and shampoo and some arborist supplies, your distal climbers on sale for $2.99. That's a good price. And yeah, Game of Trees, we're having fun.
There's always a risk when you're playing the game of trees.